Stop waiting for tomorrow. Start today. Hello and welcome to Mindfully Thrive with me, your host, Ella Humphreys. This is the podcast that celebrates the present, the joy in where we are, the journey it's taken to get here, and the ability to see our greatness for the future. We celebrate female founders, adventure seekers, and creative entrepreneurs who are building their dreams alongside raising babies and any other life commitments that can so easily distract us from the path we truly desire. This is a podcast about coming back to who we are in this life, and that our dreams, goals, and ambitions are valid and possible, while also being a loving and present parent. This week's quote is a favourite of my guest today, Iona Hickman. Iona is a graphic designer, business owner of Iona Design, and founder of the movement Motherhood is Anotherhood. Iona is a mother to Mila, who is 4, and at this point Iona is 38 weeks pregnant with her second child. She is an in-house designer and is building a business that has its roots not only in beautiful, clean designs, but more profoundly in fostering relationships and communication, not only with loved ones, but also with oneself. Iona's desire for people to feel heard and appreciated rings true throughout all of her designs. It gives me great pleasure to have Iona with me here today. Hi Iona, welcome to Mindfully Thrive.
Hi there.
Thank you for joining me today. As you know, I always start with 3 simple questions to ask. Well, I say simple, but 3 questions I ask my guests. What are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for friends and family. We've had a lovely Easter weekend, and rule of 6 has meant that we've actually been able to socialise for the first time in ages. And I just didn't realise how much I missed it. I mean, I'm exhausted, but in a good way. So definitely friends and family at the moment. Yeah.
What does thrive mean to you?
I think for me, when I feel like I'm thriving is when I found the right balance with things. Like, I'm not focusing on one thing too heavily and things are kind of slotting in together. So I still have enough time for my family and friends and things like that, and downtime, but also I'm kind of being fulfilled in my work life that I want to do and personal hobbies I've got on. And sometimes it just flows. It doesn't always happen. In fact, quite often it doesn't. But I think when I feel like I'm thriving is when you get those moments where things just seem to align and everything falls into a place for a little while. So I think that's what it means to me.
Wonderful. And what does an ideal morning look like in your life?
I mean, pre-kids, my daughter. No, I think an ideal morning is when I've had time to kind of ease into the day a little bit. Like, I've made a cup of tea, managed to have a shower, have a little bit of time in my own thoughts first before the day begins. I think it doesn't always happen. Sometimes you're kind of thrust into the day and nursery runs and whatever, and eat having a smoothie in the morning and things like that. They're just little rituals that I've kind of put in place that they're like me time now. I think they feel like something I'm doing for me before the day gets crazy. And
I'm with you on that one. And so could you share with us a little bit about your business, Iona Design?
I've run Iona Design for a long time, but a couple of years ago I basically put my cards and art prints out there. I've been a graphic designer for a long time now, and I've done freelance work around it, always with this name. But then I decided to put my own personal designs out there a couple of years ago, and I think that's where it stemmed from, really. So I sell greeting cards and art prints, and I've just kind of moved into gift boxes and stuff like that to help people reconnect. I think that's my key message, not to just send a card on a birthday or things like that, but to just connect with people and send something that you can actually hold in the physical, which I think gets lost in today's digital world. And I'm really keen to reignite that spark, of writing and taking time out of your day to do that for somebody. It just means so much more to get a personal message to someone in something beautiful. So that's where it's kind of come from. Yeah.
So you're a graphic designer by trade.
Yeah,
and
by trade.
So what kind of work were you doing when you were working for other people? Was it similar to what you're doing now?
Yeah, I still actually work for a travel company at the moment as well. Still, I juggle quite a lot of it at the moment. But yeah, I've worked agency side on some corporate clients and then some more fun projects. And then I went in-house as a designer for a travel company, which I love.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that your own designs are very different to what you do in your corporate work?
Definitely. I mean, I quite like simplicity and minimalism. White space is a big thing
Mm-hmm.
in all of my design. But yeah, it's definitely different. I think my Iona design allows my own personal creativity come out, and like it's not so restricted and things like that. It doesn't have to adhere to the other brand guidelines. It's just me. So
Mm.
it is different. It's more playful, a bit more fun, and it's just my own personal creative outlet, which sometimes, and the reason I didn't put these online for so long is because it's so personal. It's kind of like the fear of rejection, isn't it? Like, it's fine, I can brand other people's stuff completely fine, and when it comes to your own, you're like, goodness, what if they don't like it? And also, being a designer, you judge yourself even more critically, I think. Like,
Definitely, I
oh,
understand that.
should it
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so there's a bit of that there, definitely.
And so do you feel like, how long has Iona Design been going for you as a personal business?
Since 2018. So I went on an Instagram course
Mm.
with somebody, with a group of people, when my daughter was almost 2. I just decided it was time. I tried to start stuff when she was 6 months, but I was still in some kind of a motherhood haze. And basically, it just kickstarted the push to be like, just, you don't need everything perfect, just start. And like, I had cards I designed years before, never just showed anyone. They
Yeah.
were like, what are you doing? Just get them online and sort it out. And yeah, so I just kind of went for it, but with the view that I wasn't going to pressure myself to make it be something that I couldn't fit around my other work at the time or motherhood.
Mm,
Like, I didn't
mm.
want it to take over at the time. It needed to grow organically. And I think now I'm getting to the point where I want to do more with it, even though I'm about to have a second child.
Yeah.
But I'm still like, I think I'm more inspired to do a bit more with it now that it's set up and it's there, and I've been doing it for a couple of years. So
Oh, it's really interesting because taking something that you do as a 9 to 5, it doesn't consume you so much so that you're not able to do another aspect of it in something that actually continues to feel really fulfilling for you. Because sometimes, very often, we try and look for passion projects or something outside of our working life that creates that contrast possibly to what we do every day because we need something different or we're trying to fulfill a hole. But I love that you've continued to work yet built something aside from that that is in the same field but unique to what your needs are.
yeah,
Does that
I
make
think
sense?
yeah, definitely. And I think like maybe going in house made me do that more easily. Like, when you're agency side and you're working with many, many different types of clients, you're kind of putting different hats on and dealing with different fonts, different branding all the time. Whereas when I went in house, although I completely love it, you have one
Mm,
style and I really built it from the ground up and I really enjoy that aspect of it. You do get a bit like, oh, okay, but it's got to fit with this all the
yeah.
time.
So you're
Whereas
restricted.
exactly. Whereas doing my own was like free range, you can do what you like. And I kind of moved more into illustration as well, which I
I
am
think
an
they're
illustrator.
beautiful.
I just wouldn't have classed myself as that in the past. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not an illustrator. I'm not traditionally trained in that and things like that. But then through starting to get back into watercolor painting and different things like that and brush lettering, and then it just kind of developed from there and you find your style. And I think that was nice to have. I think you just end up wanting to move away from the computer sometimes
Yeah.
and finding your style that way, which is, I love design, everything. I have loved it since I was young. So very
Oh,
lucky with that.
we've got that in common. Well, I trained as a graphic designer before I then went into teaching. I'm an art teacher.
Oh,
And my art
okay.
teaching came about through doing the graphic design course. And my husband is a graphic designer, web designer. So
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
really, really happy to have a graphic designer come on to Mindfully Thrive. So as you've just mentioned, you're pregnant and you have one daughter.
Yeah, she's nearly 4.
And how far along are you?
So I'm 38 weeks,
So
3 days.
any day.
My daughter was born at 38 weeks. So we're just like, oh Lord, like this is the most pregnant I've ever been. But yeah, I'm like, please give me another week, just another week of stuff to do. And I want my hair cut on the 12th if I can make it to then. like it would be great when things open up.
Well,
But
it
yeah,
might be that she comes sooner. Is it a boy or a girl? Sorry.
don't know. We
You
don't
don't
know if it's a boy or a
know.
girl.
Wow, surprise. So it might be that she comes sooner and you still make it to the hairdresser.
Yeah, possibly. So with a newborn in tow, who knows?
Yeah. So while having Mila, you developed this business idea. And how did you juggle? You touched on it earlier, saying you tried when she was 6 months, but you're not quite ready.
Yeah. So I
Time
mean,
management.
before she was born, I designed some cards myself. It, like Christmas cards and Valentine's, I think, is what I started with, and gave some out to friends and things. Like quite a few years before she was born, and then just never did anything with it. And then on maternity leave, I mean, I had high hopes to do so much, and then you realize that actually no, you just have to keep a human alive, and that is like, you've done your bit if you can do that kind of thing. But I think you do feel in today's society like you should be doing more, or you need to fulfill this and this. It's the only time off from your main job, and like there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And also, I love being a mum, but 6 months in, I was like, I really miss doing stuff that I
Yeah.
like my, your own personal projects. And I started writing like a blog and a plan saying like, I'm 6 months in, I'm ready to come out of the haze and do it. And then that just sat there and didn't ever get published. Didn't go further. But I think she also gave me a bit of like a push that I want to make sure that I do something I really care about and do it now and not regret that I didn't do that. And then when she's older and I'm telling her things, I'd be like, no, you can do these things. Maybe my business would be much more successful now if I'd have just poured everything into it. And it just didn't work to do that for me. But there's no right or wrong of how you go about it and make it work. And I think that was important to do. And then to have something that I can tell my daughter, like, yeah, you can do these things. It doesn't, like, even if you're down the line in your career and you're thinking, oh no, like that, this is my path now, you can stop and go, actually, I want to have this extra thing and try and make a go of it. And I think that was probably like the push to make me start it more seriously then and not be so scared of putting myself out there.
Well, part of this whole philosophy around Mindfully Thrive is reaching mothers who are building businesses, even like after having the kids or just around having kids. And it's the time where you're almost settling into your day job, but there's something inside of you that really wants to grow and change. And you still have this need to put things out there in the world. Like it takes a lot of effort just to do the small bits that you need to do to keep your business going, because you're juggling so many other things at the same time. And what you touched on about it not being perfect is the epitome of it being successful eventually, because you're just making it progress, really, not perfect, but you're putting in that time to make it progress.
Exactly. Like I started and my site was not perfect. My website really was far from, it still needs improvement, but in February, I think late February, I closed my website like a mental person and said I was refreshing it. And my husband's like, you're really heavily pregnant. What are you doing? And I'm like, yes, but soon my time will be sapped. And if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? So I kind of gave myself a push to, there were cards sat in drawers that I'd never photographed that weren't even on the site. And I was like, I'm just going to do a little refresh and managed to do it and get it back up. For me now, I feel like at least I have something stronger that I can build on so that when I am off and I get a day where I'm like, I really want to put this card out there, or an idea for a new print or this gift box, or then I'll have the tools to do that. It won't be before it was a little bit of a mess, there were no categories. And so I think, it was crazy, but you just have to do it. And I struggled with putting it live. My list before go live was massive, and I had to you have the baby soon. You just have to stop. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you go down a rabbit hole. I think you do, especially with your personal stuff. And there comes a point where you have to go, my sanity, for everyone's sake, I just need to press go and then evolve it after.
And try and remember that it's meant to be joyful.
I think like becoming a mother gives you the perspective to not have everything perfect as well, and you're often time short. So you better. I think I use it better than I did pre having my daughter, and
I kind of think
get so wrapped up in everything.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I do think that kind of ties this back into what you were saying about the expectations of maternity leave. I suffered with that massively in lockdown. When we went into lockdown, even though I was continuing to work full time and also have 2 daughters at home homeschooling, this part of my brain was like, oh, yes, I'll never have this time where I don't have to go into work. Even though I was working full time at home, it was like, no, I'm going to do so much. I'm going to embrace it. And then I started beating myself up about not getting all that list of stuff that I needed to get done. And I really had to, speak some hard truths to myself and say, you're not being fair on yourself. You're taking on far too much. Your expectations of what is, what you want to be doing, it's just not realistic right now. And give myself a bit of a break.
At the start of the lockdown in my day job, I was furloughed along with my other team. And my other 2 designers who didn't have children, one of them actually has twins now.
Oh, wow.
Were born in lockdown. But before that, they were like, yeah, I'm just working on my portfolio and I'm just using this time to get some projects together and all of this. And I was there, oh God, all I've done today is made Mila's dinner and given her some activity to do and survived and made it to Netflix by the evening. And I have no motivation to do this other stuff. Yeah. Suddenly you have no childcare, no time. It was, I don't know. And I felt, oh, maybe I should just give my daughter some time. And I just launched into just being mummy. And then I felt guilty as well. And I was saying to my mum, what if the company goes under and I need to have my stuff aligned? I've not done it. How will I do it? I don't even have time. And yeah, you have to just stop and be like, look at what's going on in the world. You can't do it all.
No. Swings and roundabouts, as they say.
Definitely. And you just do what works for you. And, I look back and think, actually, it was really precious time at the beginning. Maybe not so much a year in when you need some space, but it was precious time with my daughter that I'll never get back. And I'm glad that I used it with her instead of trying to cobble together a portfolio of different things at the time. So
definitely. I mean, and I do see myself when I take on those expectations, I'm not happy. I'm not enjoying it. I've got this pressure, which inevitably has an effect on the children and the family. And as soon as I just cut myself some slack, everyone else is happier. It's all just about being a bit more mindful in, what is for me, in the end, the objective of each and every day was that we finish happy and we try and make the most of each day, just being as content as we can be in that situation. And whatever work needs to be done will come and flow slowly.
Definitely. It's just not put too much pressure on, I think. But I think everybody was guilty of it in lockdown, especially when you get given time that you think, we'll never have this again. And you didn't know how short or long it was going to be at the time, did you? When it first started, I think that was even more of a, oh goodness, what can we do? And, we rushed out and got radiator paint and all kinds, and it sat there and we still haven't done them. You're just like, oh well.
Yeah.
Clearly they weren't a priority.
No. At this point, I usually take a little bit of an inspirational pause. Are you reading anything at the moment?
I would love to say I am reading books. I just haven't picked up a book in ages, which is probably madness. But having a child and then another on the way and the design things and stuff, I haven't really. I think, no, one of the last ones I did read, which I really got into, was called The Gift. You basically find things and give them to people, or, you give your time, or you just go up to people and give something, expecting nothing in return, basically. And then at the end of reading the book, I gave the book to a friend, because you're supposed to gift it on, and then they read it and then they pass it on to, and you leave a little message in it and stuff. And I loved that book. I just loved everything about it. And
you've just reminded me that it's on my list. I need to get that ordered. So that's brilliant.
I loved it.
Are you watching anything? Can you recommend anything?
I'm watching quite a lot of trash TV at the moment, I must say. I'm not sure I'd recommend for people to I think it's called Boss Babes or something is what I'm watching on Netflix at the moment. It's just, I find that in the evening, if I can watch something that's pure, it's just got nothing heavy to it. it helps me
Yeah.
unwind. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's really
Definitely.
flashy and easy. I find it really good. In lockdown, I was watching a lot of stuff like Jane the Virgin and getting drawn into it and being like, oh, what's going to happen and all of this, and wanting to watch more every night and getting tired by it. And when it finished, I was like, I'm bored of consuming this. So I started watching surfing films. I love surfing. I haven't been in years because I'm a mum and time, but
carrying a baby.
Yeah, that too. But I went on to Prime and like looked up surf movies and stuff like that. There was one called Big Water, and it's amazing. It's about, I think the Ebola pandemic was on and stuff like this, and it follows these guys that got to go to another country surfing, and I just loved it. I like wrote about it on Instagram at the time during lockdown. I was like, this is so good. And I think when I was consuming or watching things like that, I actually was happier. Like they were like inspiring and real people stories. And so although I'm watching trash right now, I'm tired and I just need something like that, I think sometimes actually it's important to go back and find stuff that you really love and consume it, because it does change how you're feeling. Like, I don't know, I was more inspired and wanted to watch different ones and more.
And I think it's wonderful that you're able to just as well be aware of it. You know, it's perfectly great to be watching trash when it feels okay to be watching trash. And then, like you say, when it's not feeling so good anymore, you kind of have that wake up to then go and look for other things that are filling you up.
Exactly, and step away. I mean, also one, if no one's seen it right now, I would recommend Bridgerton, like the Christmas one that everyone was watching.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he should be Bond. Come on. That's all I'm saying.
It was great. I loved that too. And do you listen to podcasts or music? What would you say you're listening to?
So friends have tried to introduce me to some podcasts, because I was saying, you know, while I'm working, I'm trying to listen to a few more. And Fern Cotton one, is it Happy Place? Or tend to quite like listening to hers a lot. And I did listen to a few of Russell Brand's stuff as well, occasionally dipping in and out. I mean, sometimes they're a little bit out there for me, or he goes on tangents I'm not quite sure about. But I've had them on in the background. But I tend to really put a lot of jazz on when I'm working and stuff, and listen to that. I just find it calms me, even when my daughter's around and making lots of noise. I think if I put that on, I seem to just be calmer and can deal with situations a lot more. Whereas if I put music that you listen to and want to dance to, or, you know, it's too much input for me. So I prefer just,
Yeah, I understand that, definitely. And do you use any apps or any gadgets or props?
I like lists.
Well, you like writing.
Exactly. And I've recently just used notes on Mac, that little tick box. I love it.
Do you use Google Keep?
No.
Oh, that's fantastic.
This sounds exciting.
Google Keep is similar to Notes, but you can open it obviously on any computer if you have a Gmail. Do you have a Gmail?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It's all run through that, and then you can sort of share it anywhere.
Yeah, and I do have my notes I love Notes on Mac, and I do put it on there, but then every day, it's funny, that's my big brain dump, and then every day I have my notepad that's more manageable, and I only allow stuff that I can deal with that day to come onto that notepad, and it just makes me feel good, and it makes me feel like it's out of my head, and I've had that time before I get into stuff. And even planning the night before, I feel like then I'm set up better for the next day. I'm not overthinking everything. I know what I'm trying to do, even if I don't get to do it all. It's just out of my head, I think.
Yeah. And who would you recommend on Instagram for a follow? Anyone that inspires you?
Yeah, let me think, who's the recent. I really like the Lovely Drawer, Terry. She taught me hand lettering, and I just really like her content. And I mean, she has beautiful designs that she does, but I think she's just very real. She comes on, she talks, she shares like when she has things going on in her life, and, you know, she's not hidden and it's not always perfect, I guess. She shares the truths of like what it's like, especially being a mother and running a business. I find it really inspiring. Yeah, I think the Lovely Drawer, she's lovely. Give her a follow.
Great. Well, that's wonderful. Thanks for those. So coming back into the present moment and your story, I'm really interested to hear about this hashtag that you've built. Motherhood is another hood. Can you share your ethos on that?
Yeah, so it came about when I had my firstborn, and no, like my NCT friends and things like that seem to be finding things all fine. You talk on the WhatsApp group, and yeah, it's beautiful. Here's my baby, and they're sleeping and they're doing this, and then I was there probably about a week in, just with cracked nipples, absolutely hating it. Telling my husband this is the hardest thing I've done in my life. When is it gonna like get easier? And I was like, should I feel this way? Is this normal? I love her, but I hate that my life has changed this much. And I think I even told him she'd ruined our lives, which sounds absolutely horrific. And I still loved her with everything, but
Mm.
it was hard. And I was just like, oh God, I'm seeing all these pictures of people being happy and loving motherhood at the beginning. So I messaged my close girlfriend at my wit's end, because even, my husband was like, what? She's beautiful and look at our
Mm.
baby. And I was like, girlfriends, please, like, tell me, like, it's hard, isn't it? And they were like, all of a sudden, within 5 minutes, I have my inbox full of text. Yes, sometimes you just need to put them in the cot and leave the room. You
Just
love them,
needed to
but it's
hear that.
really difficult. And yeah, and I just needed other people who'd been through it. In fact, other women that had been through it, that were like, yes, your body's still recovering and you're dealing with a newborn as well and all this stuff. And they just got me. And in that moment, I just felt like so understood and accepted, and just like, how did you not tell me before? And they were like, oh, I don't want to scare people, and you didn't want to worry you. And I'm
Mm.
like, no, now I know your truths. I feel like so much more accepted, and like I'm not failing as a mother. It's just hard at the beginning sometimes. And so I decided that I wanted to share this on Instagram, because I've been seeing too many things of it being perfect, basically.
Yeah.
So I shared a long post with a picture of me crying, with Mila sleeping on me happily, just explaining all these horrible things I'd experienced in the early days, and that although I love her, it's definitely not a walk in the park, and that if you're struggling, there are other people struggling too, and
Mm.
don't worry, basically. And I came up with Motherhood, It's Anotherhood. And then I kind of used it a little bit myself, not too much, every now and again, to share some truths. And then more recently, I think probably getting pregnant a second time made me like, no, I want this to like be out there. Because I'm on some groups with first time mums, being a second time mum now, but I did hypnobirthing again, and I was on this group with these first time mums, and a lot of them have now had their babies. Oh my goodness, breastfeeding's hard, and this is hard, and this is, and I'm like, yes, it is. And I was like, I have this hashtag. If you want to go on there, I've got other mothers involved, and they share their truths instead of just the thing. And when they did, when they start seeing it too, they're suddenly like, oh my gosh, it's so helpful. I didn't, other people weren't telling me this. Or so I'm really passionate about people. I know it's hard to share truths. It is. And it's hard to put, sometimes people don't want to put that on their grids,
Mm.
especially on Instagram. But I'm really passionate about making that happen. I think you need
Mm.
to. And even if you don't, if you want aesthetically to keep your grid looking beautiful, just use any image that works.
Yeah.
But please write the truth that you want heard, so that other mothers can go to that hashtag and feel understood and not be alone in their struggles. And just, I think Paloma Faith is doing a brilliant job at the moment of doing just that, really putting out the raw stuff that no one talks about. And I just think we should stop being so taboo. I think it has come on leaps and bounds in the last 4 years. Even a lot more people are sharing.
Well, I'm thinking back to my daughters. I have I have two daughters and a son. But my son is 28, so Instagram definitely wasn't around at that time, and I wasn't on Instagram for either of my daughters. Probably Facebook, but I didn't really use Facebook very much. And also, from my experiences, like let's say a first time mum, second time round, because there's such a big difference in age and the whole family dynamics were very different. My first daughter, who's now 10, was an absolute dream child. And there were two parents to one child. And it felt easy. So when my second daughter was born, I was like, oh, this was easy. And it was an absolute freaking nightmare. It was a nightmare. And I was just not prepared for it at all, because it was so easy with the first one. I felt like our whole family had changed. You know, we'd gone from a triangle to a square, and I kind of was, I want my triangle, you know, and I love,
Yeah.
obviously, love my second one deeply. But I was also grieving the change of us dividing ourselves between two. Whereas before we didn't need to divide, we were always like together and, you know, sharing. And I suffered a lot during my first year of Ellen's first year. She had colic, she had reflux, she didn't take to the breast, or so I thought. And there wasn't that support. And at that time, I didn't have my mum around. She was in Wales, and just was a real struggle. So
That's
I'm
what I
telling you
think. And
now,
like,
it's a second time around.
what am I getting into?
Sorry,
It's
you're
so
just.
funny. No, do you know, all these first time mums are like, oh, I'm ready for the baby to come. And I'm here going, no, I'm
Wait,
happy
wait.
to keep it put. I'm all right to have another
Yeah,
week, actually,
yeah.
before I launch back into that stage, you know, like, but
Especially that you've got
yeah,
one at home.
yeah,
Because
like
there's 16
sorry,
months between my two. So I knew it was going to be chaos. Like even just getting them to the nursery. How am I doing
yeah.
that? Because I don't have a double buggy. Like, oh my God. It was
I still
crazy.
don't, I still have big respect for people who've done them close together, you know, like I just, yeah, I don't know how. Like, I mean, at least Mila's going to be 4 and she can understand a lot more now and things like that. And although she does keep telling us she doesn't want her life to change and will we still love her and stuff, which is a bit worrying,
Wow.
very deep. Like, oh my goodness. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think just the hashtag is really to, you know, even mothers you don't know, just to
Silly.
know that there's people struggling.
Mm,
And like even, you know, it's kind of evolved. I mean, I guess it was more when I was first a mother and those raw things that happened in the beginning. But then since Mila's got older, you know, she cut her hair in lockdown and turned around to me and was like, look. I was just like, what the heck? At the time, you're really frustrated and angry. And
yeah.
it's quite funny to look back on. But I think sharing those things that you're going through too,
Yeah.
another mother like, oh, thank God, I'm not so stupid that I looked away and my kid cut their hair. Or, you know, like you can guilt yourself into things sometimes. And I
Oh,
think sharing
definitely.
those things and seeing other people going through or being like, I love my children, but go the heck to sleep kind of thing, you
Mm,
know, the feelings you feel,
mm.
I think they're really important. And to get that out there, it's like become a passion of mine, basically. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Well done. And thank you very much for sharing that with the world. The pause button. The Buddha said hatred cannot coexist with love and kindness. It dissipates when supplanted with thoughts of love and compassion. Loving kindness meditation, or metta meditation, is an ultimate form of generous and selfless love towards others and self. Metta is a Pali word for benevolence, friendship, affection, and kindness. This form of meditation is one of the most soothing ways of putting together and practicing the 4 qualities of love: friendliness, metta; appreciation and joy, mudita; compassion, karuna; and equanimity, upekkha. Loving kindness meditation is free from any expectations or bindings. We do not do it for accomplishing a goal or proving a point. It's merely a process to experience and enjoy. Metta meditation usually starts with the self. As Buddha said, unless we treat ourselves with love and compassion, we cannot reflect the same on others. Once we start experiencing self-love and self-compassion for ourselves, we can show the same to others too. The secret of the effectiveness of metta meditation is that it unifies and eliminates the barrier between I and you. This short metta meditation works equally well for expressing love to others and yourself in the same way. The steps are simple. Sit comfortably and take a few deep breaths to relax your body. Tune into the moment and begin with expressing gratitude to yourself for letting you commit to this beautiful loving kindness practice today. If you feel ready, close your eyes and visualize yourself being loving and empathetic towards others. Notice how it makes you feel. Next, think about yourself and everyone you know and say, may you have the strength to overcome all your struggles. May you always be honest and truthful. May you get all the happiness you deserve in life. May you always be surrounded with people who love and care for you. Do not try to discriminate who these good wishes are for. Allow the power of these positive contemplations to spread in your system and reflect in your persona. Taking a few deep breaths, noticing your feelings, and when you're ready, you can begin to open your eyes. Right now you are heavily pregnant. Do you make sure you take some self-care time for yourself each week? And what would you say are ways that you practice self-care?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I've been a bit bad the last couple of weeks, perhaps, just because it's very close to due date and I'm like trying to get my to-do lists done. Although my husband's technically, we're ready, stop stressing. But I think you just do that at the end. The nesting instinct, as they say, cleaning when you can't barely move around the house. It's just ridiculous stuff. But I tend to try and have a nice bath and do a face mask for myself, even though I can't get out of the bath very easily anymore, which kind of ruins the end part after the relaxation. Yeah, I've been doing that a lot and just taking some time. So when my mum has my daughter on the days that I work, so I'm still working in my day job a couple of days a week, I tend to put like a candle on in the morning and just have some time having a cup of tea. It's quite simple, but it just a bit of headspace. And I feel like I'm doing something for me, like putting the nice smell on and having some jazz in the background and just resetting when no one's there. I really like it quiet. And I don't get that very often. I mean, my husband is a musician as well. So, and my daughter loves singing all the time. So there's a lot of noise. And I'm kind of like, I just love that little bit of quiet to myself. So yeah, I found baths and I think a cup of tea and a candle. It's simple, but it's enough for me to fit in and feel like I'm doing something for myself.
It doesn't have to be complicated, and it is those little rituals that make you remind yourself, oh, I'm just coming back to me for a minute. I'm just taking this. And it's important that I light that candle, and it's important that I sit down to drink this tea, because I'm important.
Exactly, definitely. They are important. And I've actually this time started for myself buying little treats post-birth so that I know it's silly, but
I
think when you're wrapped up in being a mum at the beginning and other people do, my mum's great at giving me little treats and my husband will do that. But I think for me, I was like, no, I'm going to buy myself a pair of earrings and leave them so that after birth, here's your earrings today. And here's some camembert that you've not been able to eat for ages. And, just little things each day in the beginning, at least the first month where you're really in a different world for a while. I just thought this time I want to prepare a few things like that for myself that I can do each day that I think will help me mentally not feel like I'm losing myself completely again. because I struggled with that with my first. Like, so yeah,
That's
right.
given me goosebumps. I think that's a beautiful recognition that you have to give back to yourself in a way that maybe we can expect other people to guess what we want, and it doesn't always work out, whereas we can actually do that for ourselves, give ourselves those
Exactly.
things that we're longing for or would look forward to, getting that exact magazine that you really love to read or whatever it may be. You're actually caring for yourself in that way is beautiful.
And then I think also, hopefully, I won't resent my partner. I've fulfilled the things I needed. So then when he makes me a smoothie and does these extra things, I'm like, that's really nice.
Yeah.
And I've also tricked myself rather than being like,
Oh,
why
why?
hasn't he bought me this thing? Or so, like you get all emotional
Definitely.
in the beginning with hormones and they're like, I didn't know, I'm sorry. It's just like, I know you didn't, but you should have known. And, it just spirals, doesn't it? So I'm
Definitely.
hoping
Yeah.
those things happen either.
Iona, that is fantastic. Well done. And how do you help other mothers connect through pen and paper and the work that you're offering in the world, taking time to write? Could you share a bit about that?
Yeah, so recently, kind of as I was relaunching my site and refreshing it, I guess Make Time to Write became like a big key thing that I kept coming back to, and I really want to make more of it. So I've got like a notepad and a pen and things like that I offer on my site you can buy, but I put like a free ritual online on my site that just explains like what you can do. Find an area in your home or around that you can just take some time, light a candle or set some kind of smell going, have a drink you like, and just like put some music on just to get like a setup, even if it's
Become
not for very long.
present. Yeah, just to make
Yeah,
yourself present in that moment.
exactly. Like block out the other stuff, put your phone away. And then either, I love giving cards for no reason. I have got some motherhood cards on there that you can send to your other mother friends, just like you're not alone, you've got this, kind of things like that, more mindful cards, I guess. Or, I'm also an advocate of just taking time and writing some things you're grateful for. Like I started like a gratitude journal during lockdown. And I mean, I must admit, I don't ever do it daily. Sometimes when you're trying to get the nursery run and then you launch into work and it doesn't all kind of align, but I try my best to do at least a couple of times a week. And my notepad helps me do that now because it's got a little section saying daily gratitude. So I try and write 3 things on there in the morning, and it just brings you back and makes you like, okay, I know everything's crazy and I want to get this done and this done, but actually where I am now is fine. And like, look how much you've got now that you didn't have, and appreciate these things. Or for me, even being pregnant, it was hard to get pregnant this time for various reasons, and I'm no, don't come yet and all this, and then at the same time I'm like, look how you're about to have your baby. Like that's so, I wouldn't even have dreamed that we would, last June when one of our IVFs failed and stuff, we were like, oh my god, that's it now, what we can do next. And now to be all of them like expect like almost having another is just, but I think you just get wrapped up in the next thing sometimes. I want to encourage people to take time to do daily gratitudes or to stop and write to someone for no reason, to say you're there. I think then when you've done that and you've sent it, they realize that you've given your time, which is something so important today. Like, time is so precious.
Yeah.
If you've taken time to write to someone, it means a lot more than sending a text or different things like that. And also by doing that, you're giving yourself a reward as well. Like the same, you're getting mindfulness, you're separating yourself from all the crazy digital chaos, and you're coming back to, oh, I've got a relationship with this person and I want to tell them this, or I just really like that reconnecting, which is what I want all my products to, all my cards and things to do, to help people really reconnect with each other. That's why I've done Make Time to Write, and hopefully more people will tag on to this.
I am really passionate about writing to people in that I decorate the card, I decorate the envelope, a bit like you in the design idea. I like to make them personal. And the feeling I get when I receive a handwritten letter, I mean, how often does that happen these days? It's so rare. I really need to wake up again and start doing it all over again, because I have stopped for a while. I mean, I could have been writing so much more during lockdown as well to, check in with people in that way. Because sometimes our Instagrams and our Facebooks, and I don't actually think I even send that many emails anymore to people either, we're so connected, yet we're so disconnected at the same time,
Yeah,
especially to the
exactly.
people that are important to us.
Yeah. And I think like I've made a miss you card in lockdown that I actually just made them originally to send to my own grandparents and then ended up putting them online. You could add a photo and things. And like both my grandparents absolutely loved that. You know, they had a keepsake photo of like me and Mila and my family and a personal note. And they were like, oh, it's so nice to get this because although they're trying their best with Facebook, even at
Mm,
93 or
mm,
whatever, you know, they're not really of that
no.
generation. I think when they get something in the post, they can just read and see and hold and keep out. You know, they put them up and they like them in their house, and it just means so much more. Like
What you've just said, I'm remembering now that when my grandmother was alive, she would be the person that I wrote to most frequently as well. And now she's not around. That's another person that I'm not writing to. And so I kind of forget
yeah,
all the other people I could
yeah,
be
to do
writing
it
to.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I've tried to make a bit of a point of writing some cards to new friends who've had babies or second babies. Just and you know, even there's a mummy magazine. Isabella and Us does. It's
I've
lovely,
seen
positive
it.
well-being. Love the
Beautiful.
magazine.
Love. Really would like. Actually, wrote to her this week to see if I can get a copy.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And I've been like sending that to new mummy friends, being like, no, honestly, this like helped me when I was first a mummy. And just because it's a lot more mindful and it's not all about baby tips, it's like
Mm,
about mummy well-being, survival, life, real life tips. It's just really good. I really love her magazine. So, and thinking just, okay, I can send them a handwritten card and something like this that's a bit different
mm,
that is special. And I hope, I mean, I've got it in the pipelines. It's not out yet. And I am having a child. So it probably will take me more time, another child to get it out into the domain. But I am doing a motherhood. It's a motherhood box, gift box that you can give to new mums or later down the line mums that just has some mindful things in there for them.
mm.
I just think it's a nice way to have something new, like a mummy box when you're
Yeah.
just a mother. And so I'm trying to put that together.
Beautiful
But yeah.
idea. And how can the listeners find you? What's the name of your site and your Instagram? Where does your tribe discover you?
So ionadesign.com is my website. It's spelt Eyeowna design. So it's my name, Iona, phonetically to help people
Yeah,
pronounce it, I guess. And the same at Iona Design for Instagram and Facebook. So yeah.
wonderful. And what's one piece of advice you hope your children carry in their hearts forever?
Goodness, that's a big one, isn't it? I think to chase happiness, basically. When I was choosing my degree, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I remember saying to my mum, like, you know, I flitted between marine biology and all sorts. And got into the courses as well. And then did something in my biology A level that I was like, I just don't want to do marine biology at uni, mum. What am I going to do? And she's like, what makes you happy? What would make you happy? If you didn't use your degree at the end,
Mm,
what would you be happy doing for the next 3 years? And I was like, I really love design. Like, I think I want to do design. But my biggest fear was I care too much. So I'm going to be too much of a perfectionist. Writing essays was easy, but doing something you love in a degree, you know, where you're going to be marked and everything. And I was more, I just want to do it because I love it rather than make it into something that you get marked on and, you know. And she was like, no, you should do that. You should do something you love. And if you don't, and be happy, like something makes you happy and you love. And if you don't use it, it doesn't matter. And I think I want my daughter to have the same thing because it did. You know, I did use it because it was something I loved and enjoyed and it made me happy. And then if you chase happiness in that way, then you'll probably end up doing the thing that was meant for you. So I hope she chases happiness and stuff she loves instead of, you know, like the money or what
mm.
she thinks she should be doing. I think that was my mum gave me that. So I hope I can pass that on to my daughter and future daughter or son, whoever it's going to be.
Well,
Yeah.
you're a very lucky daughter to have been given that advice. And you've got
Yeah.
daughters are very lucky to have you to be giving them that advice.
Thanks.
Totally agree. Through doing what we love, we will love our lives. No?
Yeah. I just think today sometimes people don't they don't think that, do they? Or they don't allow that. They're like, no, you need to like make money or do this or do this. And
A
like,
secure job.
yeah, exactly. And
Well,
then you can crush your dreams and you're like, I'm not happy. What was that worth?
my
Yeah.
husband was an economist. He went to university, did an economics degree, got a very good job in a bank, but the banks closed and merged, and he was expected to go to a different city. But he had been spending about 5 years training himself graphic design, and he would then do jobs for friends late into the night, some nights 4 a.m, working on jobs while also doing his 8 till 8 bank hours, which was ridiculous. And then when that merger happened and he was able to decide, okay, do I continue at the bank or do I go for it and become a full-time graphic designer? That's when he was able to then really build up his business from doing something that he loved. So these jobs that are meant to be guaranteed or safe, there is no guarantees ever anyway.
No, exactly. And what's the point? You spend so much time doing work or
Miserable.
in your job.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
what is the point of doing something? Yeah, no, you're right. Miserable. What is the point of doing something you don't enjoy? You're going to be in it for a long time. Like, and I get it, don't get me wrong, like not everybody is so lucky
No.
to have opportunities like that. And sometimes you just have to do what you need to do to get by or pay rents and stuff. I get that. Like, it's not, it's a privilege really in today's society that we can be a bit freer. And I get that there's the flip side, but I just think there are small ways if you can chase what you're happy and what makes you happy and you love things, the universe will just make things come into line. And I think I believe in that anyway.
Especially, and it also, like, right now, if you're not doing what you love to do in your 9 to 5, adding a little bit of it into the rest of your day, like the side projects, the after hours work that you do, podcasts like this, for me, that's what really is filling me up right now. I love my job too,
Exactly.
but this is really a passion for me.
Yeah. And I think you don't have to do it all at once. You can take baby steps and it can take, years if it needs to. But if you just start, then you'll feel you're on the journey and things will start falling into place and aligning and opportunities will be coming up. And then all of a sudden you'll look back and be like, what? How am I now like for me, how am I now on a podcast with you? Like, do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
crazy. But even a few weeks back, I would never have I've done like a couple now but I would never have done this. I'd be like, I'm way too shy to do a
Well,
talking, recording live. Yeah, I don't know,
yeah.
things like that. And I did like an Instagram live with someone, and I think that just set me on the track, like with I think Lucy Hitchcock, and it just set me on the track to be like, no, just you need to just push yourself and try and do something. And when you do, all of a sudden new doors open, and even being heavily
Yeah.
pregnant, that you can do it.
Grab those opportunities, because they are opportunities when they show up. Most
Baby said,
definitely.
very, very well put for the last couple I've had, very close to due date. I'm very happy.
Yeah, I'm very happy too. I'll let you go and get some rest. So, Iona, thank you so, so much. It's been absolutely wonderful having you on the show.
Thank you. It's been lovely to join. Thank you.
Iona's outlook during this conversation keeps me coming back to this idea of balance and celebration. Dipping in and doing while also stepping away when necessary. Leaning into life being only about progress. Getting into alignment with your heart's calling. Tuning into the things that light you up in life. While also trying not to cling too much to the outcome and letting go of attachment. Accepting it doesn't have to be perfect. Such is life. Loving the babies, the children, but accepting that it comes with real struggles and challenges that we don't have to gloss over or hide those sides of ourselves. Opening up and being vulnerable with your tribe. Finding a group of friends where you feel truly appreciated and seen just as you are. And if you don't have one, build one, just like Iona did. So this week, remember to shine a light on the things that bring you joy in life, for it is in these actions, the ones that feed your soul, that the world is also crying out for. Embrace your pleasures, practice presence, and give up on perfection. Until next week, I hope you see the beauty that shines through you. All the love. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share the show, as it really helps me get more ears to join us here.